Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and begin our benchmark prep. So number one, Chewbacca has two part-time jobs, one at the Space Command and the other at the Get and Go. He is paid by the hour for each job. So I want to go ahead and let my X and Y equal the number of hours that he's working. Last week he worked 15 hours at the Space Command, so I'm going to make X Space Command. And then 7 hours at the Get and Go, so I'm going to make Y equal to the Get and Go. And he earned a total of $124. The week before, he worked 6 hours at Space Command, so I got 6X, and 11 hours at Get and Go, so I got 11Y. And he made $107, so that equals 107. The first equation, I did the similar way. I just did 15 hours at the Space Command and 7 hours at the Get and Go, and he earned $124. Now that I have my two equations and I've defined my variables, I want to go ahead and solve. I'm going to use elimination method. So what I'm going to do is I need to say how much did he earn per hour at Space Command. I'm trying to solve for X. So in order to solve for X, I want to eliminate my Y. And so I need to multiply this first equation by 11. And the second equation by -7, so that I'll get a coefficient that's the same number but opposite. So one will be a plus and one will be minus. So if I do that, okay, so when I use the distributive property, 11 times 15 is 165, 11 times 7 is positive 77, and 11 times 124 is 1,364. And then I multiplied the second equation by -7 so that I could get -77y. And then -7 times 107 was -749. Now I just have to add these together. My 77y and my -77y will eliminate. So now I just have to do 165 minus 42. And I get 123. X, and then 1,364 minus 749 equals 615. And now I just have to solve for X. Remember, I'm solving for how many hours will work at the Space Command, so that's what I'm trying to solve for is X. So if 123 is being multiplied by X, I want to do the opposite of multiplication. So I'm going to divide both sides by 123. And then 615 divided by 123 is equal to 5. So X is equal to 5. So that means that he earns $5 an hour working at Space Command. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 2. It says, what is the x-coordinate of the solution to this system of equations? Okay, so I want to go ahead and find the x-coordinate, so I need to eliminate my y variable. So what I want to do is look at the two numbers that I could use to multiply that would eliminate the y. Alright guys, so I have 0.7y and -2.7y, so I'm going to multiply the first equation by 2.7, and then I'm going to multiply the second equation by 0.7. I don't have to make it negative since my y is already negative. So 2.7 times 0.4 is 1.08, 2.7 times 0.7 is 1.89, 2.7 times 0.6 is 1.62, and then 0.7 times 0.7 becomes 0.49, 0.7 times 2.7 becomes 1.89, and then 0.7 times -7.2 becomes -5.04. So now I'm going to line these up to eliminate and add my plus sign. So 1.08 0.08 plus 0.49 is equal to 1.57. Okay, my y's are going to eliminate, and then I have 1.62 minus 5.04, and that equals negative 3.42. So now I just have to divide both sides by my coefficient of 1.57. And I'll get x is equal to, I get negative 2.17834. So that will round to about x equals negative 2.2. Since my 7 is greater than 5, I'm going to go ahead and round that 1 up to 2. All right, let's go ahead and look at problem number 3. So admission to the fair is $6 for children and $10 for adults. So I have children and adults, so that's what I'm going to define my variables as. A group of 13 people pay $90 for admission to the fair. So there's $6 for children and $10 for adults, and they made a total of $90. And then there was 13 people that went, so the children plus the adults together would be 13 people. It says, what is the ratio of the number of children to the number of adults in this group? So I need to go ahead and solve for x and y. And to do that, I need to go ahead and multiply, let's say, this second equation by a number that will eliminate my variable. So I'm going to multiply the second equation by negative 10. And then when I distribute, I get negative 10 times x is negative 10x, negative 10 times y becomes negative 10y, and negative 10 times 13 becomes negative 130. Now I'm going to line these up like an addition problem. Okay, so 6 minus 10x becomes negative 4x. The 10 and the negative 10 will eliminate, so my y's eliminate. And then 90 minus 130 equals 40. Or sorry, negative 40. And then I just need to solve for x. I'm kind of running out of room, but I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And then I'll get x is equal to negative 40 divided by negative 4 becomes positive 10. So that means there were 10 children that went to the fair. So to solve for y, I just need to substitute the 10 into either equation. I'm going to pick the second equation because the coefficients are just 1 there. So if I substitute in 10 for x, I get 10 plus y equals 13. So to solve for y, which is the amount of adults that attend the fair, I just subtract 10 from both sides. And then I get y is equal to 3. So then my ratio is going to be 10 to 3. There was 10 children for every 3 adults. All right, number 4 said the system of equations is graphed on the coordinate plane. What point represents the solution to the system of equations? So if I'm looking at my x-axis, I'm looking where the 2 points intersect, and on the x-axis, that's going to happen at 2. So my x value to this solution is going to be 2. And then if I look at the y-axis, my y value is going to be 3. So that's going to be answer C. Remember that my solution is x comma y. This is a pretty easy one. We've talked a lot in this our class about this. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 5. So number 5 says you are running a concession stand at a basketball game. You are selling hot dogs and sodas. Each hot dog costs $1.50. First I defined my variables, so x equals hot dogs and I'm making y equals sodas. So I get $1.50x, and then each soda costs 50 cents, so I get 0.50y. And at the end of the night you made $78.50, so that equals $78.50. And then you sold a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas combined. So the hot dogs, x, plus the sodas, y, equals 87. That's how many were sold. And now I just need to go ahead and solve. It says you must report the number of hot dogs and sodas sold, how many hot dogs were sold, and how many sodas were sold. So let's just solve for x and y. So if I look at my coefficients, I see I have a coefficient of 1 here for the y, and I have a coefficient of 0.5, which is the same thing as 1/2. Okay, so I know that if I multiply this first equation by -2, then I'll end up getting -1y, which is what I want to eliminate the y. So I'm going to multiply the first equation by -2, and I'll keep the second equation the same. Alright, so -2 times 1.5 becomes -3. -2 times 1/2 becomes -1. And then -2 times $78.50 becomes -157. I left the second equation alone, and now I'm going to line these up to use the elimination method. So this is the same thing as 1x, so -3x minus 1x becomes -2x. My y's eliminate, and then I have -157 plus 87. Which equals -70. Now I just need to go ahead and solve. Since -2 is being multiplied to the x, I want to do the opposite, so I'm going to divide both sides by -2. And then I get x is equal to -70 divided by -2 becomes positive 35. So that means there was 35 hot dogs sold. And to solve for y, I just need to substitute this 35 into either equation and then solve for y. I'm going to choose the second equation because it has a coefficient of 1 for both variables. Alright, so I have x plus y equals 87. I substitute 35 in for x. And now I just need to solve for y. So I'm going to minus 35 from both sides. And then I get y is equal to 87 minus 35 is 52. Okay, so there were 35 hot dogs sold and 52 sodas sold. So I'm going to go ahead and circle C. Alright guys, thank you guys so much. Remember, you guys can pause the video. You can watch the video more than once if you need to review anything. Make sure you take great notes in your study guide. I'll see you guys in class.